Hello again, guys and gals. I am Jim Bob. Welcome back to Massey Manor. It is Monday, the 5th of June, and this is the first Massey Manor that I've recorded for a few weeks, actually. First on the new PS4 Pro, and this is going to be the first episode with the new editing style as well. So you'll see a lot of progress being made in this episode. We have all of these trees here that we want to try and cut down and grind up into wood chips. To sell them as logs is kind of a big waste of time because they're really small and not really worth anything at all. But as wood chips, we can get a nice big pile stashed down by the heating plant, ready for a great demand, or at least a nice solid price. So we're going to jump in Scorpion, and we're going to start cutting down some trees. So we want log size. Turn on the harvester. There we go. Log length. We want to keep it nice and simple. We'll go with 3 meter lengths, I think, because these are lightweight trees. So we can easily handle 3 meters in terms of weight. We're just going to cut these trees down and build small log piles, and then manually we'll feed them into a wood chipper later. Now we have this Scorpion on lease, so we've only got it for a limited period of time before we start getting charged again. Right now the clock is still at 0, although it will very shortly tick over to start showing use. And as soon as we reach, there we go, it's just done it now, look, we're now at 0.1 hours. Once this thing reaches 0.9, depending on how many trees we've cut down, we may get rid of it, or we may keep it for an extra hour. Because once it hits 1.0 hours, we will get charged for a complete second hour. So if we've already cut down a lot of trees by that point, then we may just get rid of it so we don't incur additional charges. But if we haven't cut down that many, enough to really maximise our wood chipping, why can't I access that log? It keeps popping up briefly. Does that help? No, not really. Still can't see what's going on. Alright, let's try that. There we go. Now we can see. Pull the arm back in. We need to be faster than this. We need to be more efficient than this. It's because I got caught on a stump and couldn't move further forward without repositioning. I should have just done that. It would have been quicker. But yeah, depending on how many logs we have that we can chip, we may just get rid of it after the hour. We may keep it for an extra hour and do some more chipping as well. We'll see how things go. So I'm going to plod ahead, and I'm going to cut down a load of these trees, and we shall sort of pick the action back up in a little while. We've just clocked over onto 0.3 on our usage clock there, which means we've now used this for 18 minutes. Because each decimal point on this is worth 6 minutes. So with 0.3 usage, that means we've used 18 minutes of our 60 minutes that we've paid for. And as you can see, we've actually made quite a nice little stack of logs already. I mean, these are all small logs. Some of these are going to give some decent wood chips. These smaller pieces, like the ends of the tree, will yield very little to no wood chips at all. But you can see we've cut down quite a few trees already in a very short space of time. Now we've still got 3 times the amount of time that we've used, you know, left before I need to think about maybe stopping using this. So we'll have a really nice stash of logs, you know, after an hour's use in this thing. So I don't see any reason why we should need to keep it for a second hour, at least not at this stage. You know, maybe in the future we may lease it again. It gives me 2 options. I can either just return it, or I can just leave it parked up, switched off and not in use, and then I will incur an additional charge at the end of the day at midnight for a new day hire, and then obviously as soon as I start using it and cross over from 0.9 to 1, I'll get hit with an hourly charge, which is significantly higher than a daily charge. But it means that we have the option of coming back to it without having to hire it again. But that's only really worth doing if we decide to come back and do more logging within a day or 2 at most. Otherwise, we might as well just get rid of it and then just absorb the cost of a fresh loan and the additional loaning charges. So what I mean by that, if I just turn this off and jump out to save on hours, let's pull up the equipment here. So here we go. Here is the Scorpion King. So if we go into information here, now as you can see, per operating hour we're getting charged £15,850. Now we've already paid our initial cost of 25.3. That's already paid. So for that gives us the base cost of a hire, which is £6,340. The operating hour of 0 to 0.9, which is 15.8 thousand, and the initial per day charge as well of 3,170. That's that combined cost there. That gives us 25. Now, if we decide we're going to park this up and leave it for a couple of days, then when my clock hits midnight and a new day starts, I will get charged another £3,170 because I still have the piece of machinery in my inventory. It's allocated to me and a new day has started. So to pay for that day will cost us £3,000. But we won't incur the base cost again. That base cost is only attributed when you make an initial loan purchase. So this is where having a piece of loan equipment just sat there for days can be a bad thing, because depending on the equipment you can start incurring these charges, and they might not be huge. I mean, this is a very expensive piece of machinery, and $3,000 as a daily charge isn't too bad. But if we were to hold on for this for 6 or 7 days before we used it again, it then became, and we're at 0.9, within a few minutes of switching it on, we're going to hit that 1.0 hours used, which means we're going to incur another £15,850 charge for the next operating hour. Now, if you factor that in with the 3,000 per day times, say, 5 or times 6, that's another 15, 18, 20,000 in total in daily operating charges on top of the operating hour. Now it's more expensive to have done that and left it in a field for 6 days before coming back to it than just getting rid of it at the end of this first hour and then hiring, starting with a fresh hire in 6 days' time. So if you are going to park something up, you need to think about how quickly you're going to be coming back to it, because the longer you leave it, the more daily charges you're going to incur. And yes, you won't ever incur the base cost again unless you take out a separate hire. But if you leave it too long and you have it idle for too many days, you're paying more than you would if you just got rid of it and started a new loan however long, however further down the line. So that's just something to be wary of with vehicle loaning. So with that said, I'm going to continue using the Scorpion, chopping down some of these trees here, making some nice piles of wood ready to throw into the stump grind, into the wood chipper. So I will carry on with that, and I will catch up with you in just a moment. We're making some good progress here. We are at 0.6 hours now used on our clock, and we have several of these log piles sort of dotted around. Little sort of top tip for you, if you're a console user at least, don't make your log piles too big, because otherwise you will absolutely destroy your frame rate anytime you go anywhere near them. It was a problem in FS15, and it's a problem on FS17. If you get too much stuff all crammed into one single place, then you end up with some serious frame rate issues. This is why I've got lots of piles sort of staggered all over the place. And also as well, when you're harvesting trees like this, you're chopping them down, you want to be as efficient as you can, which means you don't want to be driving all the way back to one spot just to dump all your logs into a single spot, because you'll spend more time driving than you will cutting, which is a waste of time and money with a piece of equipment like this. You really want to be getting the most out of it by getting it to do the work rather than use it as a transporter. So I'll do half a dozen trees, pile them into a single spot, and then I'll probably move on to another area. We'll start another pile a little bit closer to where I am. Having trees grouped together, or piled together like this, it does two things. It means that you're keeping your main area nice and clear of logs, so you can move around from tree to tree without stumbling over stuff on the ground. But by grouping your logs into piles like this as well, it also means that you can be much more efficient when it comes to tidying up afterwards. So if you're going to be wood chipping like I am, then you can just, instead of carrying all the logs over to the wood chipper, if you've got lots of logs all grouped together in areas like this, you can just bring the wood chipper to the logs rather than the logs to the chipper. Park it up somewhere, and then just all your logs are nice and close at hand to just turn and throw straight into the chipper. Likewise, if you're on a transport trailer and you're looking to sell the logs, if you have lots of logs grouped together, it means you can load your trailers much more efficiently. And at the end of the day, especially with leased equipment, efficiency is key. If you're leasing stuff, you want to use it as quickly and efficiently as possible to minimise the amount of loan costs that you're paying, or leasing costs that you're paying. You want to get the most amount of usage you can for the time that you pay for. So we're going to start a new pile just here. Not because the other ones are too big, but simply because I don't want to be driving too far. And I've got a nice little group of trees here that I can literally just grab all within a close distance of each other. Drive a couple of feet back, and I'm at a log pile to unload. Like so. If I was stacking these to sell, then I would be a bit more careful about how I'd unload them. try and keep them all sort of pointing in at least the right sort of direction, the same sort of direction. But because these are just going to get chipped, I'm not too bothered about neatness of stacking in these temporary piles. They're there purely just to, as I say, make it easier for when I come to load the chipper up later. And it doesn't matter how neatly they're stacked. Okay, so the usage clock has just ticked over to 0.9 hours, which means I'm into the final 6 minutes before I'll get charged an extra 15,500 or so for another hour's usage. So I'm going to cut down just a couple more trees, and then we're going to park up. And we're not going to return the equipment straight away. We have cut down quite a few trees, but there's still an awful lot of lumber, you know, left that could be processed if we wanted to. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start chipping up what we've got and shipping those wood chips down to the biomass plant. And once we've started to build a really big log pile, sorry, a really big wood chip pile, we'll see just how much we've got in potential amount of chips. And if I think we could do with more, then I will use this for an additional hour. If not, we'll return it. So this will be the last tree that I cut up. There we go. And I'm actually going to drive this down a bit to here. Turn the engine off and jump out. So there we go. We have finished our tree felling, and as you can see, we've cut down a lot of trees. I went all the way along the edge of the field here and cut down all the trees that were sort of at the edge of this field. So this potentially, you know, would, under normal circumstances, allow us to maybe open this field up a bit more. However, with all these custom bits of grass here and thistles and so forth sticking through, these will show through when we if we were to plough this field. If we were to plough this area here, all of this would stick up through the ploughed ground and just kind of look a bit naff. So we won't be able to extend this field without having, you know, this stuff show through the field, and I don't like that. So it just means that we have a nice big clear area. I mean, you can see just how much we have in terms of logs to process. So let's jump into the wood chipper. And we've got a huge pile of wood chips right here. Turn the engine on, turn the wood chipper itself on. How much storage do we have in here at the moment? We've got a 40,000 litre trailer and we're using, what, 12,000 litres. That's fine. So let's start throwing in some logs. Now there's two ways I could do this. I could do it like this and just literally throw the logs forward, or I can pick them up sideways and drop them in. These are light enough for me to be able to do it this way, so I'll try this out and see how this goes. We will occasionally have to nudge some of these logs forward a bit. But that's fine, we can do that, no problem at all. So, as I said, it is Monday, the 5th of June, which means the mod contest is now officially closed. Entry date, or the closing date for entries for the contest was yesterday. That was the cut-off period, so if you were hoping to enter the mod contest but haven't yet done so, you're too late. Entries have now been closed. So all entries that are going to be judged will have been submitted. So now we just have to wait and see who wins in each category. The results will be announced at FarmCon later in the month, and then once that's done, some, if not all of those mods will be released in some way, shape or form. Now, as a console user, we won't see a lot of those mods. A lot of the mods that have been entered into the mod contest are going to be very, very heavy on detail and features and scripts, and so releasing some of that stuff onto console just isn't going to be possible. That said, there are some entries that will be, coming to console. The one that we do know about that is definitely going to be coming to console, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention it on this particular series, is the Massey Ferguson pack from Black Sheep Modding. I cannot wait for that. When I first saw that they were doing an entry for the mod contest and that it was a Massey Ferguson, I just assumed that they were doing a tractor, or which would have lots of different options with it. Different cab options, different engine sizes, different wheel configurations. I never in my wildest dreams expected that it was going to be a 24-piece kit, 24 different pieces of equipment. And if you haven't seen the video yet for that, it is on YouTube. It is on the Black Sheep Modding Facebook page, and it is awesome. I really, really cannot wait for that. It's entirely possible that Black Sheep may get a DLC deal out of Giants as a result of that, if it does really, really well in the contest. Whether that means that'll be for the Massey pack or something else further down the line, I have no idea. We'll have to wait and see. If they win the category, which I think is the modern day classics category. I think it is. Equipment can be no more recent than 1997, I think. So it has to be 97 and older. Anything made post 1997, in terms of what the mod is based on, will not be admissible in that category. But in terms of stuff that's going to come to Massey Manor with that pack, so much in the way of options. I mean, the tractors themselves, because they're old, are not exactly what you would call high-powered. They're all sort of low to mid-range tractors, but there are some really, really nice options. And lots of extra equipment. There's also a self-propelled mower as well, which I can't wait for. We haven't had one of those on console, and we've been hoping that we might get something like a Krone Big M, the mower, the self-propelled mower from Krone. That has now been many of those have been submitted to Giants, and all of them have failed Giants testing requirements. They've either visually not been up to par, or they just haven't passed in testing itself. Because console requirements are very strict, a lot stricter than they are for PC, and not just that, but a lot of mods that get released on PC never get submitted to Giants for an official release on ModHub. They're released on third-party websites like FSUK and LS Modding and so on and so forth. So you get varying degrees of quality, both in terms of performance and visuals. Giants themselves have very, very strict requirements for stuff to be released on their official mod hub. And when it comes to consoles, those requirements are even stricter. You know, can only have, you know, a couple of different scripts allowed within the mod. Has to look very, very good in terms of visual presentation. You know, as good as something that would be, you know, or as close to base game quality as possible. Which is why we've had so few vehicles on, you know, on the console mod hub, because they just haven't been up to par, or they've been too heavy on scripts, all these different things, you know, all these different reasons, or they've you know, failed, you know, the licensing regulations, so they can't be submitted that way because they bear too much of a resemblance to an unlicensed brand. Things like that. So the fact that we will definitely be getting a self-propelled mower as part of this Massey Ferguson pack, which is going to be coming to consoles, I can't wait for that. That's going to be awesome. But they've also got like a tracked Massey as well, some ploughing equipment. There's an old style corn harvester for doing silage. There's like a little pull-along attachment that goes behind a tractor. There's plows, trailers. I think there's even maybe a baler of some kind as well. There's all sorts of stuff. Off the top of my head, without actually watching the video again, I couldn't tell you exactly what's coming in the pack, but there's a lot of stuff and quite a few different tractors, and they all have different options as well. So it would be a crime if I didn't add the Massey pack to Massey Manor. We may have to relocate to a different farm and start a new farm under the Massey Manor header, starting with the you know, the Black Sheep pack, and then upgrading to more modern, larger, more powerful equipment as we progress. But that equipment will definitely be making an appearance on the Massey Manor farm, wherever that farm is. I've just realised I haven't even checked. We are probably wasting a lot of wood here. Just been throwing logs in. I haven't even been looking to see how much we've been processing. We could have just wasted an awful lot of wood there. Now, the wood chipper itself does have a 5,000 litre capacity storage, which is great. It means some of those wood chips that we've wasted, we will actually have kept. There'll be 5,000 litres, up to 5,000 litres stored inside that wood chipper. Switch to in-cab for this bit. So up to 5,000 litres of wood chips can be held within the wood chipper itself, so that if you do end up putting in more logs than your trailer can handle, you can save some of those wood chips inside the chipper. And then when we pull up with an empty trailer, it will automatically unload those wood chips. However, I think we've probably wasted more than that. So when we pull up to the trailer, if it immediately fills up to 5,000 litres, we know we've wasted a lot more than 5,000 litres worth of wood chips. So fingers crossed we come in at just under 5,000, but I somehow doubt that. I think we've wasted an awful lot there. Just because I wasn't paying attention. I got into a little ramble about the Massey pack that's coming, and completely just lost attention to what it was I was doing. I was kind of just throwing in logs on autopilot there. It's a shame, but these things do happen. So biomass plant, as you know from the previous episode, is just a little way past the store, sort of around the corner. We have got some wood chips there already. We will be adding to that pile. And we're going to keep ferrying logs into the chipper and then the wood chips down here until we've processed everything in the field, and then we'll see where we stand in terms of wood chips. In fact, how much are they worth right now? Let's check the price. 181 and dropping. Well, before they drop any further, 181 is actually a pretty good price for wood chips. So we're going to empty this trailer. We'll probably only get 4, maybe 5 grand for it, but as you can see, our funds are dangerously low right now. So we will actually sell these wood chips here. That's not bad, 7.2. I thought we would probably only get about 5, 5.5. So we made more money there than I was expecting. I'm quite pleased with that. Has that lid closed? Yes, it has. Right. I'll drive back up and I will see you back up by the wood chipper. This is a tight entrance. I always catch there. Right, moment of truth time. How much did we waste in wood chips? This immediately fills up to 5. Then a lot is the answer. Yeah, that's what I expected. We wasted a lot of wood chips there. Oh well, never mind. Just have to pay more attention. Engine on. Start her up. Got more logs to throw. Okay, there we go. So we just got 4,000 or 40,000 litres in here. And we'll have just a little bit of overspill still inside the chipper. So let's go tip this trailer. And then we will carry on doing exactly the same again, just chipping logs and transporting wood chips. That's if I can get out the field. There we go. Right, time to hit the road. Alright, here we go. So unload here. There we go. That's the option I needed. And back we go to the field. Now, I'm trying to remember if I leased the wood chipper as well. I think I did, which means we need to keep an eye on the usage on that as well, because when that hits an hour of usage, we will get charged for a second hour. So as soon as we get in the field, we will open up and have a look. I'm also going to reposition the wood chipper slightly, a bit closer to all of these logs over there. So let's just back this up into the trees a little bit. There we go. We'll jump out. Now the problem with the wood chipper is that it can only, drive in a straight line back and forwards. That's all we can do with it. So if it needs to be positioned anywhere else, we have to sort of tow it there. With a little tractor like this and hills and stumps, it's going to be a little bit tricky, but we'll get it. We'll get it. We'll be fine. Look, that problem with the stump already. Look. suppose we are going to have to come through and start grinding up these stumps at some point in the future. Yeah, we're in the way with that Massey at the moment. Let's move him out the way. There we go. Ah, come on, we can get over those logs. There we go. So I want to try and position nicely in the middle of all of these. Just about there. There we go. Logs on all sides. So we'll park that there. Let's see if we can negotiate our way out of there. There we go. That'll do. We'll park up just there out of the way. I do like how you can leave the wheels angled like that now. That's such a cool look. Right. Let's get the trailer in place and see just how many wood chips we saved this time. It'll be probably around a few hundred, I'm expecting. I was pretty careful this time around, so no repeat of the mass waste that we had last time. A little bit too close as well. Let's get a better angle. Not too far away. There we go. Oh, a few more than I thought, but 1,800, well within our 5,000 litre capacity target. So, start the engine, turn on the crusher, and off we go again. We'll do some side loading this time. And we got another trailer done. Okay, so we've cleared all the logs in this little area here. So now it's time to reposition our chipper once more. Just got to navigate the maze of tree stumps now. We will squeeze our way through. Here we go. Oh, he's struggling up the hill. This little Massey has no power whatsoever. Just a basic engine, hasn't been upgraded in any way. There we go, move that out of the way. Now let's reposition our trailer. So I'm going to load up the bay with all of these logs, and then we'll turn on the wood chipper. And that was something I was going to do as well, wasn't it? I was going to check the hours used on the wood chipper. So let's go to garage, wood chipper, 0.8. So we've got probably about 10 minutes or so left on that thing before it's going to charge us for the next hour. So it's another reason to sort of load it before we turn it on, just to save a minute or two here and a minute or two there. Yeah, it could be the difference between getting charged and not getting charged. And how much would we get charged? Let's have a look. So the next hour we will get charged an extra £3,200. Okay. It's very quiet now without any equipment running. It's just me and the birds. That's it. And the faint clicking of buttons. So there we go. This is not a bad place to end the episode of today's episode of Massey Manor. So I hope you've enjoyed the new edited style that we're bringing. This is going to be the way this series will be recorded going forward. I mean, we've been going for about 2 hours now, almost. Yeah, around the 2 hour mark that I've been playing so far. So there you go. You've got 2 hours worth of gameplay in a 45-minute video. This is going to be kind of the way that it goes going forward. Sometimes it'll be less than 2 hours worth of footage. Sometimes it'll be more than 2 hours worth of footage. Depends how much I have to say on a particular topic as to how long we stay with the camera, running like this, and what it is that I'm doing as well. Let's just finish loading this up. That's looking pretty full. Let's reposition this log here. There we go. So I think we're about ready to turn this on. Spew all those logs through. There they go. So, thank you for watching. Please do continue to check out Massey Manor as it progresses. I will catch you back here on this particular farm in a week's time. Don't forget, Big Bud is being shown 3 times a week at the moment. American Outback is being recorded twice a week. I did actually ask on yesterday's episode of American Outback if you guys want to see this edited style brought across to that farm as well. So if you do watch that farm series, please do let me know in the comments below, either on this video or on one of my American Outback episodes, whether or not you want to see the edited style brought to that farm as well, or if you're happy to just stick with the original press record and see what happens for 45 minutes. You can also check out Fent Farm every Friday. Again, it'll be edited to show several hours of the footage in a single episode, just like this farm and Big Bud. And if you're looking for something other than Farm Sim, there's also Tomb Raider, which is still going on. It's a cracking game. One of my viewers recently said that they loved the footage so much that they've actually bought their own copy of the game and starting to play that themselves as well. So that's a game I do highly recommend you check out. And if you want to see it before you play it, then you can check out my Let's Play on that. And No Man's Sky is going strong still as well. Again, we are starting to edit that one as well now to increase the amount of action that you see in those episodes. Less wandering around, more interacting with things and achieving objectives, and continuing our journey through the galaxies. And Flame in the Flood is another little great game that I've been playing that I do highly recommend you check out if you haven't already. So plenty of content to choose from, and plenty of content still to come to the channel in the future as well. So do keep an eye out for what's going on. Thank you for watching. I am Jim Bob, and I will catch you back on Massey Manor next Monday.